constitutional. Joining me now, Richard Socarides, former president of Equality Matters and former Clinton advisor. Richard, great to see you here. And I was reading through this great list you have in the New Yorker, the top 10 gay rights heroes of 2013. And let's start with number 5.
Number 5. Well, number 5 was Ted Olson and David Boies, the two lawyers who brought the case in California challenging Proposition 8 and were ultimately successful in getting the Supreme Court to end the enforcement of Proposition 8, but not for all the reasons they wanted. They wanted a broad constitutional ruling, and they didn't get it, and they're back again next year to try to get it.
You've also got Russian LGBT activists, and that they've put themselves out there. A little bit of a risk, right?
Well, it'll be very important next month to see at the Sochi Games what happens in Russia. Of course, there is a new law in Russia which makes even talking about issues related to sexual orientation anywhere where minors could be present a crime punishable by imprisonment, and we'll see what happens in Russia next month. It'll make that Olympics even all the more exciting and interesting and give it a news focus.
All right, on your list is President Obama, and was it his inaugural address that you're making note of here?
Well, his inaugural address was so important, but also as important was the fact that he came out for same-sex marriage last year, but we saw this year his Justice Department really go to bat and to fight for and alongside gay and lesbian advocates who are fighting for same-sex marriage, and his support made a huge difference this year.
Number 3 is, well, an unlikely hero, some might say, and that is Justice Anthony Kennedy.
He wrote the decision in the Windsor case, in the Edie Windsor case this summer, which many believe set the groundwork finally for the Supreme Court to rule perhaps next year that there is a federal constitutional right to same-sex marriage. And it was a very bold decision. 5-4 talked about the dignity that gay and lesbian Americans are entitled to.
All right, one quote that was tweeted a lot: "Who am I to judge?" And we're talking about Pope Francis. So when you look at this, Richard, might this be the beginning of a switch in views, a change of views for the Catholic Church?
Yes, and Pope Francis is on my list really because it is the promise of Pope Francis, not yet the actuality. I mean, the Catholic Church is still not a completely inclusive and welcoming place for gay and lesbians, but it is moving in that direction, and Francis certainly looks like he wants to take us there.
And your favorite? Number 1 on the list.
Well, Edie Windsor is a remarkable figure, and she's number 1 on my list. She has her story is compelling. The romance in her life is compelling. She was a great, her case was the case that changed everything for us this summer, and she does it all with great style. She's an older person. We're not used to seeing someone who looks kind of like a grandma as a hero, as a political hero. But she is it's an amazing, compelling story. And there are many others this year. You know, I thought Tom Daley, the British Olympian who came out at the beginning of this month in a very kind of new way, not just saying that, he was dating someone of the same sex, not wanting to be defined. I think...
Talking about public figures, though, we've got ABC's Robin Roberts just recognizing her girlfriend, and we've got other very famous media figures that have come out.
Absolutely. It became much easier to come out about your sexual orientation this year, and I think it's something that we will see a lot more of next year. Certainly popular programming like Glee made that possible, but we really saw the interesting mix between the political and the cultural, right? The cultural is often leading the political in a lot of these things.
All right, a watershed year, as you say, not seen since 1969. Appreciate your time today, Richard.
Thanks for having me.
All right, appreciate it. All righty, the official gift-giving holiday season.